Hi guys, this is Juliana Fumberg, co-founder of Creative House Studios in downtown Asheville, and we're here with Chandra, my other co-founder
Hi everyone.
from Creative House Studios, and we got Tiffany Ellis here with us to talk a little bit about how some things have changed with this whole virus pandemic thing going around. Introduce yourself, Tiff, and tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, my name is Tiffany. I am a nurse for 20 years working as a case coordinator. And I am also the owner and founder of the Ministry of Decor, which is an event planning and decorating business. We do everything from birthday parties to weddings. Weddings happen to be like our biggest thing, which is totally affected right now.
Oh yeah, I bet. Well, what are you seeing? So tell us a little bit how it's disrupting your industry and how you're pivoting through this insane time that we're all living through.
Well, we actually had weddings that were supposed to be happening now. Our wedding season down here in Miami is a little bit different from everybody else's because of the summers being super, super hot. So all weddings are on hold, of course, because of, isolation and social distancing and quarantining and all of that. It's been difficult because, everybody, the same week that everybody went into quarantine, we were supposed to have that wedding weekend like full. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So those brides were hit the hardest and were very disappointing. There was a lot of disappointments. There was a lot of crying.
Oh yeah.
A lot of, trying to talk through things because, you get to a point where you're so ready to do it. And it's been, a struggle getting everything planned and everything done. And we're right there to have to say, okay, let's make a really good judgment call and postpone until a later date that, can hit hard. But, we work through it, working with the venues and other vendors to make sure that, they're available for the dates that they would like to reschedule to. What we're seeing a lot of is people wanting to reschedule for next year since there's a lot of uncertainty with, when we're going to be able to start having events with a lot of people. They're looking more towards next year and kind of on the tentative date. We haven't had much cancellations, which is good, but it has affected us in the standpoint of nobody else is really planning for, okay, yes, let's start planning. That's a huge part of our revenue is when people want to start planning. It's, having those meetings, discussing that, and then being able to plan. Right now, all of that's kind of dead silent. So on our end, we're just trying to get creative and do more of, instead of the planning, more of the decorative part and creating part of our inventory and organizing and all of that good stuff.
Wow.
And besides too, like all the extra work you had to do to like rearrange the people that did cancel, the phone calls you had to make to cancel it and all that stuff. Yeah.
It's crazy because once you have a date in mind for that specific person, then you have to contact all that person's vendors. And if they're not available for that new date, now we have to go back to square one and go back to the couple and say, hey, they're not available this date. So either you lose your deposit, which is huge, or some of these people have already paid out that specific vendor and they don't want to have to go and lose those funds and find another one and pay again. So it's a little difficult when we're dealing with that because then we have to go back, start again, and then come up with a new date and put it across the board. Some people have noticed that, oh yeah, I wanted to schedule for next year, but me and my sister is graduating from her nursing program that day, and we have to reschedule again. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to be in hurricane season because we have that issue. And,
oh yeah, by the way, Tiffany's in Miami. We haven't mentioned that.
So on top of that, it's like personal things that are happening that you're like, oh yeah, well, my sister's supposed to be graduating on this date. I didn't even realize that. Okay, let's do this all over again. So there's a lot of forth. We've recommended just for couples to kind of just stay tentative, have a group of dates that we're going to be flexible on, and then just use those dates and find out from family members and things like that, is there anything important happening on these days? And if there isn't, then okay, let's move forward. And from there, let's go on and start talking to your vendors because we've noticed a lot of back and forth. Like it's
Well, and then that is, you're working more time, more hours, more effort for no more extra money. It's not like you're going to tack on all these extra fees to reschedule all this, but all that workload that you are taking on, that's hard to hear, because you're not being compensated per se for that. So that's a big adjustment in your business. And then, like you said, the new inquiries aren't coming in. So that's interesting. I hadn't thought about, I mean, I guess people aren't getting engaged right now. People aren't planning.
And if they are, they're not thinking of a set date for wedding yet.
Right.
Like thinking, we
and
got
that's the
engaged,
thing.
but they're
Like,
not like,
that's the thing. Like, and I see it from both points of view. Like, I see it as a business owner where I'm like, oh man, this is really bad. Because we don't have any new clients coming in, and it's like, when is this going to be able to start? I'm also a nurse, so I know that, like, okay, yes, we need to be safe. We need to continue the social distancing. It is too early to be considering, oh yeah, we need to get up and running again. But at the same token, it is very difficult because you do have people that are getting engaged at this point, but they don't want to set a date. So if they haven't even looked at the venue yet, they're not really wanting to say, okay, yes, let's start planning. Because what we've seen in the shift of everything before this started was that people were already getting a venue before they come to us. So if you can't do a walkthrough in a venue, then you're not going to really want to lock in a date. And then that affects us in a different way. So it is pretty difficult, but I also see it from the standpoint of the couples. My wedding was supposed to be this November, and we just completely postponed, because even though it is in November, what we're seeing is that, some people from this year are going to want that month if we are able to do events again. So,
oh, wow. So you're pushing your own wedding back?
Yeah.
Well, but I have to say, she already wanted to do it next year, and we said, all of us said no. And then she's like, okay, fine. And then she went anyways. Just saying.
I got my way anyways. But not the way that I wanted.
She wanted to do it next year. And I said no, and then Kenny, which is the fiance, said, but let's get married this year. So we all said this year, and then she got her way anyway.
Yeah, because everybody knows how I am, and if I keep on pushing it, I'll push it till I can't.
She won't do it, and she won't just keep on just being engaged forever.
Yeah, that's just on my personal end. Like, I'll push my own personal stuff till I can't anymore. But when it comes to like the business and things like that, that's always a forefront, which is why everything gets pushed. Which was like the leading force of us pushing everything, was because when this first started, we started having couples asking about November dates, and November, and I'm like, man, like, we're gonna do so much if we don't do what we need to do, and I just didn't want to, but we went ahead and did it anyways. And so at least in that aspect, I could tell our couples, like, hey, we totally understand how bad and how sucky it is. I've cried with them and the whole nine, and you just kind of roll with the punches. And we've been finding is that we can be creative in other ways. There's certain things that we've had in the works for a really long time, but due to the increased growth that we had so quickly, we haven't even had a chance to get there. So this is giving us time for that.
So what are
not
some
to
of
say
those
that
things?
We have to be productive right now, but it is what it is.
So what are some of those things that you're going to grow into and do differently that you're mentioning?
So what we wanted to do when we originally opened was to do kind of somewhat of a one-stop shop, in a sense, where you can get everything that you need for your event from us. Also using other vendors for certain things, but a good majority of things that you can do, resolve in our with our company. So floral arrangements are definitely going to be a thing that we're going to be focusing on. Also, we are amping up our rentals. We do a lot of decorative stuff, and we specialize in fandom themed events. We love the geek stuff. We, push through that, even in the masks that I'm making for some friends and, just people here in the community are geek themed. They're, hold on, I think I have
let's see some, yeah.
See, like, I only have the fabric because I'm cutting it now, but like Harry Potter themed fabric is being used, and Avenger themed fabric is being used. So like, we really, really amp up the geek. And we want to have people feel comfortable doing that in their weddings and events. And birthday parties are always used in that aspect. But for weddings, for some reason, you know, people who are super in love with their fandom will not incorporate that into their wedding. And I feel that that's incorrect. Like, you should do what defines you guys as a couple. Like, for example,
Right.
myself and Kenny are huge Game of Thrones fans. We bonded over when we started dating. That was a thing that we incorporated into our daily life. When we would come in for Sundays to sit and watch, we would have like watch parties, and people would come over, and we had like our select group of people that, you know, knew to be quiet during the episodes. And it was
Don't
like
ask me things. Don't ask me things.
yeah, no, not until after, and then we'll talk for like hours. But that was the thing that we did. And, you know, we got engaged on the actual finale of the show, like right before, I want to say like 20 minutes before the show, which is probably why I didn't think that it was that bad. But, you know, so of course, naturally, we feel like Game of Thrones wedding is a huge point to have. We love the show so much. It helped our relationship. It helped us bond in the beginning, and I can't imagine having it another way. And when you tell people that, at least down here, it comes to the point of like, you'll get somebody that's like, oh, but you can't do that for a wedding. And I've been told that several times, and I'm like, no, you totally can. It's just, there's a fine line. Yes, things can be tacky, but that's with any event that you do. It can roll over to the tacky side if you're not careful. But, you know, so we want to show people that you can do what you love and incorporate little tidbits about you as a couple, because that's the whole point. It's supposed to be personal. So we're working on creating like unique pieces for people to be able to rent. We're planning on doing an online shop towards probably the middle of next year. We're just, you know, creating inventory at this time. So yeah, those are the things that we have in plans right now.
Oh, I love that. I have a friend that got married in the Detroit Museum of Science, and it's very controversial, but they had a Star Wars and Star Trek wedding.
Oh, it is controversial.
I know, but they love both. They love both.
Yeah.
So they had elements of both, and I think that's so cool. I love that mission of helping. It's not only I'm going to help plan your wedding, I'm going to help you plan your true personal wedding. That's like
personalized it to the point that it's yours. Yeah,
like there is that old stigma, and we love talking about, you know, we like to hang out with disruptors and have interviews with disruptors, and so you're disrupting the wedding industry a little bit, and I love hearing that, because we do need more of that. There's the static. I went to a wedding, I'm not even going to say when, but you know, it's like
I heard the whining on the other side of the phone.
Oh my God. That cookie cutter, we as a society, and that's one of the things I hope that this you know, pandemic teaches us, is like, tap into all the weird and really like go there and do things differently. And who cares if people say who cares if your mom says, well, that's tacky. I don't know. Sorry,
exactly.
Mom. This is about
we gotta be weird. That's what. It's not that we're weird. That's the special thing that you bring to the table as your individual, as being the human that you are. That's why we are all different, and that's why we have all the different talents that we have, and all the weird things that we have. And there's a reason for that, because we serve a purpose, and that purpose, as humans, it's what we do. And if you don't personalize, if you're just like everybody else, then what's your point? Like, I'm not gonna go to the dark side and just say just die. Just gonna
No, but it's true. Like, Pinterest is great. I love Pinterest. I mean, if you were to check out my Pinterest board, I have two separate ones. I have a personal one, and I have a business one that just provides inspiration, because we don't want to copy anybody, but, you know, seeing pictures, I'm a very visual person, so seeing pictures really does inspire me to create. And if you see my boards, I have like, I don't know, I have like 40 boards, and I continuously add, especially now during this quarantine. Like, that's been my thing. I've been on Pinterest a lot. But it tends to be more of a run-in-the-mill type situation when you think about weddings. Everybody a while back had the shibari chairs with the round tables, and the candelabras with the bubble on the top of flowers. And, you know, you can only see that so much. By the time that you're done, you're like, oh my God, every wedding looks the same. And for me, that's like, right now we're in the very amazing boho trends, which is fun. But if we have enough of those, they all start to look the same. And it's like, what sets your event apart? Like, what will people remember from your event? Will it be the food and drink, which is what they always remember, or will they be able to walk in and say, wow, yeah, this is totally 100% that? And that is our goal. We want people to walk into whatever venue it is and say, oh my God, look at this little tidbit, or look at that. And we want it to be that if you are into the fandom that, you know, the couple is into, if it's the fandom that they chose and they wanted to accentuate, that you can see those tidbits and appreciate them. And if you don't, you can still think that it's a beautiful piece. So yeah, we're just trying to kind of spread that. It's a little difficult because once people are set in their ways when it comes to certain things, it's very difficult, especially when it comes to birthday parties, not so much, more weddings, because you have family members involved in the planning process at times. And, you know, some of the antiquated thoughts come through. But, you know, for the most part, we really haven't had that much of an issue with that. We've had here and there. But we are seeing more of a trend of people, you know, wanting to be more personal and adding their little touches to things. We have a lot of DIY brides, which is fun. And can be difficult at times to incorporate.
That's what I was trying to say. Is that what you call it now? You call it fun?
It's fun. It's fun when they don't stress out. When they start stressing out and they start going overboard, then everything starts getting a little crazy. And we wanted to kind of tone it down. We are super aware of everybody's budget, especially now in that whole situation.
Right.
We are knowing that, you know, a couple of our clients are going to want to tone down. Some of our clients already got married and are considering, you know, well, you know, let's just throw a party, and that changes the entire aspect of everything. So we're seeing a lot of changes because of this. The prognosticated changes, according to an article, I think it was in Forbes, don't quote me on that, 100% sure. But when it comes to the wedding industry, was that people were going to be drastically changing the way that they do weddings. And in that aspect would be more of the guest count. You know, not inviting every single person just because you met them once or they're a Facebook friend. It's going to be more intimate, which we are okay with. Having more intimate weddings, to me, it's more about, it's not about a show. You're not putting on a production, although it is a production. Right. You're not putting on a production. You are having a special moment with people that you actually care about and you can't see your day without. And
which is what it's supposed to be, yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to that, because we've had, you know, 200-person wedding where everybody really does know everybody, but we've also had those weddings where some people don't even know like who that person is, and you're like, wow, why would you invite people that you don't fully know? Because when you think about it, it's a cost of a plate, a tear, you know, dinnerware, glassware, everything.
Well, and a wedding of 50 people costs much less than a 200-person wedding. Anyways, the venue has to be bigger, and besides like the plate, the whatever setting, all that stuff, it's just it's a big difference from one to the other.
Yeah, not that we mind the big weddings. I love big weddings. I have been a fan of weddings for a very, very long time. The movie that got me the movie that got me into it, actually, and I just saw it the other day, which was ironic. It's like a little reminder. Was The Wedding Planner that J-Lo was in?
Yes.
Yeah, I have to admit that is a guilty pleasure.
The first time that I saw Tiff's, because I've known Tiff for 20 years.
Is that long already?
Oh yeah,
we're all
deal with it. Just deal with it. We've done many things together, but the one time that she really helped me was with my brother's wedding.
Oh man, Krispy Kreme.
And I saw Krispy Kreme, and I saw Tiffany's talents and like full on, from like making the stuff, because we had to make a lot of stuff. I was just the sheep, and I'm a creative, but I do not like weddings. So I'm like, you tell me what I need to do, because I hate this, but I will do it because it's my brother. And so we were doing it, and the one moment that I was like, what was that? They delivered the cake, and the cake was plain. It had nothing. It was just white. And I'm like, and they were not supposed to deliver it that way. And it was already the wedding day. It was like, and this is
it was
happening. There. And I'm like, Tiff, I started screaming like, where's Tiffany? And then they were like, what do we do? I don't what to do. She would just draw a smiley face on it. And she's like, no, give me flowers, give me this. And she did this beautiful shaped heart with white roses from the arrangements that made the whole cake a whole different cake.
Aww.
And it looked like an actual wedding cake. Like things like that I would have never think of. I'm like, what? No.
I remember asking for a glass of champagne before that.
That's true.
Where is the booze?
But things like that she's already passionate about doing, like it's already engraved in her and what she wanted to do, which it was very cool that it just came to her. And I'm like, yeah, you keep doing that.
On the creative thinking and the creative solution, you know, that's probably one of the key things about being an entrepreneur, right? Is being able to deal with those moments creatively. Yeah,
you just find a solution, and that's what it was. I was like, I would have never like, if it was for me, that would have not worked out the same way. It would have been some abstract thing going on, somewhat darkish. It would have been something weird. They don't know what they're looking at. So I'm like, yeah, thank you, Tiff, you did it. So, but it was just a moment's time, and it kind of saved the day with the cake, because my sister-in-law was freaking out about it. She was, and yeah, she in her own chill way, because she's super relaxed.
Super
but I'm
chill.
like, yeah, but I'm like, yeah, I don't think she's happy about it right now.
That actually was where I realized that I could do that I could actually be an entrepreneur and make that dream an actual reality. Because aside from the wedding planner that I saw the movie and I was like, oh man, like that's a job. Like I didn't know.
That was kind of the first one that you had your hands on to do, kind of thing.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the first official wedding, like real wedding, not in a court. That was in a destination in, I think it was Key Biscayne, right? And
yeah, it was in a mansion on the water that my brother
beautiful
rented.
venue.
Yeah, it was super beautiful.
Wow.
And then we didn't have that much time either.
And
but we pulled it off.
It was very hot that day.
Yeah,
and you couldn't leave your work early, so I had to start setting up again with all the love, but I had to do it because Tiffany wasn't there because she had to work. So I had to set it up, and then I was the maid of honor too. So then eventually I had to change. It was crazy, but we pulled it off, and she did a great job of putting the stuff together. Like I said, I would have never thought of putting the flowers that we put together or what it was. I didn't know. So yeah, that was a really cool day to make her be who she is today.
Well, yeah. So we didn't talk much about your other job. Do you want to make the wedding and event planning your full-time thing?
Yes.
That's your goal.
Definitely 100%. It's grown pretty quickly, actually. When I finally sat down after many conversations with Hootie, talking about the seriousness of it, because I had bought the name and I really didn't do anything with it. I did like a couple of birthday parties here and there. And I was still very hyper focused because I was in an office working 9 to 5 and then doing at home visits because I was a case manager at a home health agency. And it was just taking up a lot of time because I had to do like on-call work and all that kind of stuff. And just conversations back and forth. And I remember one day she was just telling me, like, you know, if you really want to do this, you are going to have to kind of put balls to the wall and get it done. And I was like, man, or she's like, and then she said, if not, just drop it. And I was like,
that doesn't sound like me at all.
But it was a conversation because I was kind of teetering on it for a while. And she was like, you got to make a decision and like what you really, really want to do. And I thought about it. It took, I want to say, an entire weekend of just like pondering about, okay, what do I really want my life to be like? Because I originally didn't want to be. I originally, back in high school, I wanted to be a fashion designer and I wanted to get into graphic design and do that kind of thing. I wanted to be an artist, and I was doing a nursing program in high school so that I can have a backup to fall on, because I was told by people that art doesn't pay, which is total BS. It does pay. Yes. There's many careers in art to go for that. If I would have known now as an adult, I look back and I'm like, if I would have known set design was a thing, I would have totally gone that way. Or if I would have known costume design was a real thing, I would have gone that way. But, you know, I really do feel like the misinformation about being an artist and being able to
totally.
not be not fall under that starving artist category is really just, you know, the lack of education of being like, oh yeah, I can actually do something with this. But I did the nursing thing as a backup, found out that I really, really loved it, and it does accentuate a part of me where I can't help but help people. That's just what I do. So I don't remember where I was going with this.
Well, yeah, just talking about the balancing of both, and I mean, I know
it's been difficult. Right now, not so much, obviously, because everything else is kind of on hold. You know, we're working on solidifying some dates for weddings and things like that. We've been back and forth with venues and vendors, and it's been a tasking thing, but you know, we're slowly getting there. Now has been a lot of focus on the day job and making sure that our members have everything that they need, that they're taken care of, that that they are not, you know, infected, that they're not going out, and they're not going to the other daycares and all that kind of stuff. So the focus has been more of a 75% there and the rest towards the business, because everything's kind of on hold and it's really difficult to plan anything right now. But normally that's not the case.
Well,
it's pretty much a 50-50 split.
I would love to talk, we'll talk later, and you guys probably have talked about stuff like this, but I think you made me think the art of event planning as like an e-course or an ebook or something, because one of the things we're doing is, you know, really partnering with entrepreneurs to, you know, they can have an e-course off of our platform and, you know, have that residual income coming in for them. So we're always thinking about ways to help creatives and entrepreneurs. And that might be something that would be really, really cool to learn from you, or how to geek out for your wedding. Like I think some people would take that e-course or take that ebook and love it.
That, or like a little checklist of what you need to do before you even think about doing this. Please have this checklist.
Yeah.
They jump in it and they have no idea what they're doing.
No. And you look at a wedding and you're like, oh yeah, why would I pay a planner to do, why would I pay a planner $4,000 to do my wedding? And then you're like, when you're actually a planner, you're like, well, yeah, because there's so much behind the scenes that people have no idea. And I get it all the time where clients are like, wow, you really do like a lot. And I don't know about other planners, because we've heard some things about planners not staying the entire day, and everybody has their way of working, and we don't judge that at all. We just work in our way. So I'm there from start to finish. Our team gets there from the early in the morning before any other vendor gets to the venue. We're the ones setting up. We're the ones making sure that everybody has what they need. We are like background checking. We are there throughout the entire event, making sure that everything goes off through without hitch. We've had brides that are like ready to go and walk down the aisle, and then we realize, where's your bouquet? Back to the bridal suite, get the bouquet, make sure, you know, just making sure that little things like that are in place. And then we'll stay all the way until the end, after everybody's gone, making sure that the venue's back to normal. So for us, it could be between a 12 to 16-hour day, just that one event. And then that doesn't include all the background work that we've done, all the back and forth emails of talking to vendors and all that kind of stuff. I actually one time sat down and counted how many emails I went through for one event, and it was literally like 437 emails of back and forth. And I was just like, wow, I didn't even know I had it in me to do 400 something emails for one event.
All that time.
There is a lot of conversation and a lot of making sure that everybody is on the same page. So when you're doing that and you have about, you know, 10 to 12 vendors, yeah, it's a lot of information being tossed back and forth. So it's a lot of time. And I think that people are uneducated on that part. It's a lot of work. But birthday party is way easier. That's for sure.
Well, we appreciate hearing the insights, and I hadn't really thought about the wedding industry per se. You know, you think about tourism, you think about just the small businesses and all that. And I mean, the vendors that you're talking about, they're going to be hurting because of these weddings not happening, you know? I mean, there's just such a sweeping impact that the wedding industry has. And like you said, hopefully it changes the wedding industry for the better, where people are having more thoughtful, you know, more intimate, more personalized, more real weddings than the cookie cutter. So that could be exciting, because at this point I'm like, I don't really want to go to any weddings, because there's like if it's not fun and amazing and a party and
Right?
like cool and
It
not
becomes a chore. Like I have to go.
exactly.
And that's what we try not to do. Luckily, we've been blessed with brides that want to do fun things during their weddings. We have a bride that wants a bounce house at her wedding because that's a new thing. There's an actual wedding bounce house. I'm super excited. I'm like, yes, this is so cool. Or like, having a live band or doing.
I might rent that for my birthday.
It's
because
amazing.
I'm not getting married, but I will rent it for my birthday.
It's amazing though, because I think about it, it's like, oh man, everybody has to take off their shoes, which is not normal for a wedding. And bounce around in a bounce house. That's super cool.
Just make sure I'm not super drunk.
Yeah, no, I just hope nobody pukes in it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Early in the day.
Yeah, but we're seeing a lot of interactive things happening in the wedding industry, like bounce house. We're down here, there's a big Hispanic culture, obviously. So you have like the espresso cart, which is always popular and gets people interactive with that. Then you have like a tobacco roller, or you have what we call hora loca, which is the crazy hour, which is like towards the end. We amp up the party and bring out dancers, samba dancers, and all this kind of craziness, and do like a lot of glow sticks and all kinds of stuff. And that makes things fun. I think that as long as you're adding elements that you guys care about as a couple, and your crowd, you should know your crowd,
right?
And you're doing things that involve things that they enjoy as well. I think it's just enjoyable for everybody. We had an amazing couple who are artists who I love very much, and they are super talented, and they had fire dancers at their wedding, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I've never seen this before. And I was like, oh man, like I never even thought of that as being as an element, but it was a gift towards one of the brides, and they knew the performers personally because they are performers and they work together. But seeing that element was like, wow, something so unique involved in this wedding, and it has to do with their lives anyway. So yeah, that makes total sense. So we hope to see more stuff like that.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate your time today and hearing about your ventures and how you're pivoting a little bit and just growing your business. So yeah, we'll have to check back with you in a couple months and see where you're at and how things are moving along. Hopefully.
I mean, yeah, we're just hoping. Not for nothing, I do fight with myself throughout this time. It has been difficult. I'm not even going to downplay it and act like I'm like super motivated to do everything. No. I have my days where I just want to eat all the food in the fridge, especially the brownies, and sit in front of the TV and freak out watching, everything that's happening, and then cry, and then watch comfort movies and eat comfort food, and then go back to bed. And then there's days where I wake up and I'm super motivated. I'm like, yes, I'm going to do all these things. And then I turn around and I did half of what I wanted to do. And then it turns out I don't have any energy left. I'm kind of done because I have, I'm just over it. And then there's days that I don't expect to be motivated, and I kind of just do little things here and there, and boom, I did like 20 things in one day, and I'm like, oh wow,
that feels great.
Yeah, I think I think that's just weird in that aspect where we're all trying to figure ourselves out. None of us really know how to not be on all the time.
Yes.
Like that's one thing that I did notice throughout this whole thing was that I am constantly on. I don't stop. I am always doing something. And now that I can't do the things that I would normally do, because if not, you would catch me in Michael's and I would be buying supplies and I'd be planning and, okay, well, I need to buy this and I need to buy that and I need to create. And having these limitations now makes you stop and say, well, wow, like I don't want to be on right now because I need time to kind of go through this. And that's okay. And like, being okay with not being on all the time has been a tool. I don't know if you guys are experiencing that.
Feeling the feelings and just let it be. And which is, it's something I tell people all the time too. I've learned that a few years back where if I don't feel like working today, I ain't doing anything, and that's okay. Like, and not beat up for you, because the thing is that a lot of people will do that and then they beat themselves up over it. Like,
I'm number one.
I'll take care of it. I know. I'll take care of it tomorrow. There's tomorrow. I will wake up again and I can take care of it tomorrow. Not, of course, to do that every day, because then, stuff will pile up.
No, yeah.
But at least the one day that you really don't feel just feel the feelings. Just let it be. Take, just chill. It's okay. It's still going to be there when you come back to it.
Especially because we talk about doing this for the long term. We want to build 20-year brands, legacy brands. You could do this the rest of your life and be happy and love it. So we have
for that you have to pace yourself.
Yeah, and you can't have the burnout, and you have to just keep that long-term vision. I want to get there, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get there all in one day. So
it's not going to happen all today anyway. So it's
like we've gotten some really good ideas throughout this. Like I love to sew. I actually really love to sew. And even though I yell at my machine every so often when the bobbin messes up and I have wrong tension and et cetera, I still love the process. My grandmother was a master seamstress, and I grew up seeing that, and I was really close to her. So I feel closer to her when I do those things. So I was like thinking about it. Well, why don't I just do my own wedding brand? And that
awesome.
So, but then doing things are like, okay, yes, I want to do this. Let me plan it out. And knowing that every step is important, and being able to know your limits, but also be present. Like, it's okay to slack off, at least for me. It's okay for me to slack off a day or two because that's the norm. You're supposed to. I wasn't doing that before. I mean, my industry worked weekends, so I was not slacking off. I was on the go 7 days a week, and then you burn out, and then it's done. But in this aspect in this quarantine situation, I do allot my times for business because I also don't want certain things to get lost in the process. And I can easily be overtaken by my emotions and then not really pay attention to what I need to be. So then I'll say, okay, yeah, you know what? Today I'm not feeling it, but let me at least do this one thing for the business that I really need to get done. And that way I don't feel bad later. Because what happens is that if I don't do it and I let it all pile up, then I'm overwhelmed. Then I start thinking about, oh my God, I have all these bills coming in, and is the business gonna even survive? And then I don't even want to touch it. So it's a lot of fighting back and forth with my own brain. But I think I've come to a point where it's just a little at a time. But at least as I'm going and I'm touching the stuff and I'm doing it, then I get motivated while I'm doing it. So there's that.
That's good advice, to try to tackle one thing that day, even if you're feeling super unmotivated. Especially if it's been a day or two since you've done some tasks. I think that's great advice for all of us entrepreneurs, because we always stack our plates way too full. So, well, thank you, Tiff. We appreciate you, and we'll check back in with you soon.
All right.